Hello, good evening, and thank you for joining us on yet another edition of the program Mountain Echoes. Tonight, we have a very important topic to talk about nation building. Now, today is April 3, 2025. Rolling back the tape 5 years ago, on this same day, the President of the Republic, His Excellency Paul Biya, signed a decree creating the presidential plan for the reconstruction of the Northwest and the Southwest region. This body aims to create an environment where the denizens of the two English-speaking regions can live after the conflict that raged for over 5 years, should say, there about 4 years before the creation, had created a lot of loopholes in the two English-speaking regions. So after the major national dialogue on the 30th of September to the 4th of October 2019, one of the recommendations was to create a body that can reconstruct and develop the two English-speaking regions. And of course, the president heeded to that call and created the presidential plan for the reconstruction and the development of the Northwest and the Southwest region. It is 5 years gone down the drain. Well, what are the blessings and the bruises? What are the impacts created so far? That is what we shall be discussing tonight. And of course, we are welcoming you on board. We're going to have a very wonderful program tonight. My name is Yannick Fonki, and by the grace of God, I am privileged to have a crack team of panelists who have lived the crisis and also felt the presidential plan for the reconstruction and development of the Northwest and the Southwest region. They would be giving their own take on this subject. Well, JC Agum is manning the broadcasting and transmission. Once again, I say welcome on board. Well, straight away, I introduce to you those who shall constitute the panel tonight. I have with me Mr. Kikishi Kenneth. He's a civil society actor. He's one person who lived through the crisis. He made his voice heard, and also during the major national dialogue, he also extended his own contribution. And of course, he can make a firm appraisal on what the PPRD is all about and what impact is created. Mr. Kikishi, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Mr. Yannick, once more, and good evening to all the televiewers of GMR TV television. It's always a pleasure answering to your call to chip in my voice to nation building. And I think that as a civil society actor, we are actors on the field. We are the voice of the voiceless, and the concerns that I bring on the platform are concerns of the masses that we follow every day on the ground. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Right. Also on panel tonight, we have a politician. Yes, we have Mr. Njomo Cyril. He's of the Cameroon Renaissance Movement. Thank you very much for joining us, Mr. Njomo.
Thank you, Yannick Fonke. It's a pleasure to be back. Last time when I was here, I promised the viewers that I was writing a book. I'm happy to let you know that the book is now out. It's talking about the crisis and how we have survived within the crisis. I want to greet my co-panelists, Mr. Kekechi and my brother from the two Republican Party, two Democratic Party. Thank you. I want to equally greet thousands of viewers of DMR TV. It's always a pleasure to be back here, Yannick.
Right. It's always an honor having you on board. We also have on panel tonight another politician on a panel tonight. He goes by the name Mr. Talbot. Mr. Talbot is a strategist. That's Mr. Arehans Talbot. He's a strategist in the True Democratic Party. That's a baby party here in the country, and is already making waves. We're happy having him on board. Mr. Talbot, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, esteemed sir, and also my brothers and fathers we are all in the same panel. I'd like this opportunity to thank the viewers out there who are sacrificing their time to listen to this conversation that will yield more fruits. I'm someone who have traveled around the triangle. You know, a Cameroon map is like a triangle that is carelessly drawn, as a scientific define it. And with respect to our party, as the name goes, the Truth Political Democratic Party. You know, truth is one of the ingredients. It's a word that most scientists, philosophers are unable to define it, because truth is insight into reality. And as a member of this party, with respect to this such programs as this, we are going to be unveiling to you the mysteries which they are common to us. We'll make it available for you, and by so doing, there's what they call an apocalypse. That's a removal of scales and the unveiling of vision to all to every member and every participant on board. Thank you very much.
Right. Thank you very much. And of course, the team will still expecting Mr. Esembe Peter of the ruling CPDM party. He's a communication, or I should say, is a communicator. He calls himself a societal communicator, yes. And also Ayamba Kevin of the CPDM party. We're still expecting them to be part of this panel. Now, the President of the Republic, His Excellency Paul Biya, created the presidential plan for the reconstruction and development of the Northwest and Southwest region on the 3rd of April 2020. The aim of the party was to create an environment where development and reconstruction can take place in the two English-speaking regions that battled with the crisis that ravaged infrastructure but also human development. Many were displaced and many were trapped in the crisis. And so after the major national dialogue, the recommendation was to reconstruct and develop the two English-speaking regions. And so the president answered that call. The United Nations Development Program, UNDP, was initially charged 3 years to see how it can set a suitable groundwork for the reconstruction project to take place. And in 2024, the Prime Minister and Head of Government did announce that the program was taking another turn. This time around, UNDP was not going to be the sole partner for the presidential plan for the reconstruction and development of the Northwest and Southwest region, but other stakeholders, including the mayors, including the regional council and other stakeholders, will be part of this program to see how the Northwest and the Southwest can be developed. But it is 5 years gone down. What can an average Northwesterner or Southwesterner talk about the PPRD, as it is fondly called? This program is controlled. To say the chairperson is Paul Tasson. Paul Tasson briefly gave way for Balongi Confiance Ebune, who took, and then Paul Tasson came back. All along is to give stability in the leadership and to ensure that the program moves effectively. Now, 5 years on, what appraisal can we make of the PPRD? That's what we're discussing here. But first thing first, let me come with you, Mr. Kikishi. You keenly followed the major national dialogue, and 8 commissions were created, and 11 recommendations were made. And out of those recommendations, one of it was that a plan should be created for the reconstruction and development of the embattled Northwest and Southwest region. And the President of the Republic, 1 year after, heeded to that call, precisely on the 3rd of April 2020, created this plan. And we're 5 years gone. But first and foremost, what appraisal did you make initially of this whole initiative to create a plan to reconstruct and develop the Northwest and Southwest region?
Mr. Yannick, the first appraisal was a very positive one. That following the destructions and infrastructural destruction, social distortion, where there was no cohesion in our communities again, displacement that took place, and other social ills that came. It was a highly welcome and lofty initiative from the head of state to talk about reconstruction. But at the same time, there were lots of controversy because people were asking themselves which one comes first. Was it coming timely? The war was still on, and there was still destruction going on, and so they were talking about reconstruction. And you said well that UNDP was in charge. When they started the first phase where UNDP was in charge, there was a lot of mobilization of stakeholders. Civil society actors had to come in, community leaders. At every base you find people. There was a call for civil society actors to come on board so that they could be appraised of the plan, the presidential plan. Later on, when there was a disruption, the civil society was not informed. We are not again part and parcel like in the first part that UNDP was engaged, which was very, very participatory and inclusive. And if you ask me what assessment I can be making on this platform, I barely would say very little, because the inclusiveness would have given us information on the various targeted projects. It is said that every time that a project is supposed to come to a community from the state coffers, the people that are the beneficiaries must have a clear information about the project, and so that they are the beneficiaries and they will do the impact assessment. But you find out that little was done to make it inclusive, and so several persons, though a very good idea, but people are void of the presidential plan of action for reconstruction because it did not take into consideration the need assessment was made maybe in some other quarters, projects that were made from the offices and not from the ground on the ground. If a need assessment was made on the ground, there would have been a priority would have been given to the masses, the local beneficiaries, to actually highlight their needs in the construction plan. But beside the reconstruction plan, we have the normal budget that is sent to every region, and so projects are moving. So people do not identify which project is going on that is under the reconstruction or the presidential reconstruction plan. There was even a polemic about the appellation when it was UNDP, that the presidential reconstruction plan for the Northwest and Southwest region. There were questions about it. Is it the money that President Paul Biya as an individual has given to the Northwest and Southwest regions to build, or was money that was coming in from the coffers of the government of Cameroon, which is a taxpayer's money? The name Presidential Reconstruction Plan. How come? So people, it made people to even dissociate from this plan, because many people did not know, and people ask questions severally. Is this money given by His Excellency Paul Biya from his private coffers to reconstruct the Northwest and Southwest, or it is money from the taxpayers' money? And as I said, people see projects going on, whether they are bulldozers, tarring road, or whatever, but nobody, you hardly see a billboard that is indicating that this project is from the Presidential Reconstruction Plan. So there's a mix-up, and so the assessment to give about the reconstruction plan of the Northwest and South can be very difficult and challenging, because it was not inclusive, and so people did not actually identify which project is coming from you and which project is coming from a public investment budget. Thank you for that.
Right. Thank you very much, Mr. Kikeshi. Now, to put some very clear indication here that the presidential plan for the reconstruction and development of the Northwest and Southwest region has three main pillars that it is coming to solve. Yes, The first is social cohesion, recovery, social cohesion, and reconstruction. Well, the first 3 years was dedicated to recovery and then social cohesion, and then reconstruction that follows. Mr. Njomo, you have been following and monitoring activities of the presidential plan for the reconstruction of the Northwest and the Southwest region. Let's also quickly remember that in 2021, when the plan actually took full swing, actually the then and of course the present head of the plan made several trips to the Northwest and the Southwest region, where he talked with the population through the media and also indicated that actually they're not coming to repair or reconstruct every home, but they're coming to create some significant impact in communities and to ensure that people can live and normalize their life once again. What is your own appraisal about this plan and its implementation in the two English-speaking regions?
Thank you, Yannick. 5 years has gone. You spoke about social cohesion, which has a lot to do with the leadership that was put in front. Mr. Paul Tasson, was he elected by the affected communities? The answer is no. He was appointed. So there was a trust deficit from the onset. That trust deficit made social cohesion a little bit difficult because the receptive communities were not properly informed on the nature of the project that were ongoing. Social cohesion means the environment, the war environment were torn, and so they were supposed to have cultural gathering, social gathering, where people are talked to, where projects are, as sensitized, or where they ask people about their challenges and have a sense of, write them down, then go and look for experts. I will not lie to you that in 2022, I participated here at the Boya Mountain Hotel as a trainer with young entrepreneurs from all the division of the Southwest that make up the Southwest. And we were training them on how to build business plan, and the latter actually benefited from some funding. Mm-hmm. You spoke of the UNDP. It's not only in Cameroon that they intervene in post-war environment to reconstruct. Two examples I want to cite here is Togo and Senegal, following their their pre-electoral process and sometimes post-electoral process. The difference in these other communities is that the people are actually listened to, which is not totally the case here. So many people listening to us don't even know what we are talking about. So we have a trust deficit. The people following the 42 years of dictatorship we have been earning from Mr. Biya, it has made the people to be lukewarm on so many initiatives. And since we were to start with social cohesion, that's national unity, helping the victim to reintegrate, to get back to normalcy, to normal life, like their brothers in the other 8 regions, it became very difficult for them to even know the reconstruction phase. So when we move from the the grassroots mobilization to reconstruction, they did not even notice that they have switched the gear. It seems as if you are driving, and from the moment you leave from gear 1 to gear 2, people don't even notice that something have changed. So that's exactly where we find ourselves. I started by the leadership aspect. The leadership had security consent. The people left from the center region where there is relative security to the crisis hits environment where they are alive. They were afraid. There's a common saying in Cameroon that I want to see my children grow up. So when they live from those areas where there is relative security to a crisis environment, there is a fear of their life. So they would likely come and earn in air freshen hotels, where most of those money is squandered there. They fly some few elites in those areas. They come and they justify the budget. So the grassroots community is neither mobilized, nor do they benefit on any meaningful, if not of this regional assembly that later came in, or that came in before, and that they have built some few classrooms in some schools like in Menji, the few ones I have heard about. I would have been telling you that it's very difficult. The second leadership challenge is now that the people don't trust the leaders. So that trust deficit makes that even the few messages that they come around and they are sending, people say, Massa, they are those same people. And the next aspect, which is not the least, there are three of them. The last one is corruption, embezzlement, misappropriation of resources. They say this money is meant maybe to reimburse those who got their bus burnt, or those who got their farm, those, you know, even area like Kumba, so many people cocoa farm were destroyed. So these people will come, look some few of them, talk to them and give them the money based sometime on tribalistic orientation. So these are the challenges that had marred this process in 5 years as we are taking stock. But I can assure you that I have seen the UNDP actually financing local projects at a tune of 500,000, 200,000. I'm not. I've seen pig farms that have been created out of this project. So the economic part of it, at least I've seen right from the grassroots, some people benefit from this project. So all is not black.
Right. All is not lost. Yeah. And I want to say that a lot of projects have been achieved. We shall be giving you some statistics in a moment. But let me take the general appraisal from the panelists before we come to some statistics. But just to indicate that the three pillars from the presidential plan, we have social cohesion, just as Cyril did indicate, social cohesion, build back nation building, the spirit of togetherness and the love for the nation and all of that. And then the second is infrastructural rehabilitation. Yes, infrastructural rehabilitation. Those who have lost houses, to build some houses and so on and so forth. And then local economic revitalization. Yes, the terms look very, very pregnant. We're going to decode all of these terms in the course of this program. But Mr. Tabot, you live in the Northwest and the Southwest region. I'm sure from 2017, right even about this moment, we are seeing how infrastructure being demolished, being ravished, swallowed by the conflict. We're seeing displacement and all of that. But the reconstruction and development of the Northwest and Southwest region is also doing quite a lot to rehabilitate and reconstruct the two English-speaking regions. What's your appraisal about it? 5 years.
Thank you, esteemed moderator, the opportunity. You see, this moment of rehabilitation and reconstruction, I would say is sunlight for us. You know, you can only improve when there's sunlight. It is through sunlight that biologists talk about chlorophyll, the green coloring matter. I will say that, let's take for an example, and I will cite an external example. When you go to Canada, there is a place in Canada, there is a certain town, it's called Inuvik. And this town is located at the Mackenzie Delta in Canada. As a matter of fact, the mayor of that town is called MacDonald. He has a population of about 11,000 inhabitants. Now, in that town, in the whole of January, is usually darkness for 30 days, no light. Why is there darkness? Because when the earth rotates around the sun, when it gets to that town in Newvik, it tilts. So because of the tearing effect, there's no sunlight in that town. So usually the inhabitants of that town, when it is December, they always move to other nearby cities. Then after January, they come back. Now in that same town, in the month of June and July, it is sunlight every day for 2 months. So the infrastructures, the buildings, the development that you see there, they are usually built or erected during the month of June and July. They call it the summer period. So when it is June and July, they have a certain feast that they celebrate. They say sunlight has come. So with respect to what is happening in our nation and with the reconstruction and the rehabilitation of Northwest and Southwest, I think we should just embrace the opportunity and we support the head of state, you know. But for us to support it, there are some key things that must be followed. One of it is that the leaders of these 2 affected regions, we have to reiterate the message to them about reconstruction, so that they shouldn't just take it as like something that just came up and they are trying to help, and then they go behind and say don't stand with him, So I'm trying to say that these are the parental genes. In biology there's what they call the parental genes. If we go back to the Bible, like when God commanded Noah to put all the animals in the ark, the animals we see in the world today, not all, they didn't existed in that time, but most of the animals who went to the ark, they were the parental genes, the animals with the parental genes that gave birth to the animals of today. So maybe I think there were no cats and dogs, but the parental genes, the animals which were inhabiting the parental gene had to give birth to them. So through these parental genes, we have other animals. So what I'm saying is that there are some parental figures in our society that this government should go and meet them and say the project for rehabilitation and reconstruction is not a deception, it's a reality, and we need your help. Help us so that we can foster this development. Actually, we need it. I traveled the other time. I was traveling from Kumba to Manfi, and I saw how the Sonel, the Enyo people, they were erecting electric poles, and we stopped by to interview some of the inhabitants of some villages, and they were very happy. They said, thank God, President don't remember we try get light. We don't be for some time, never get light. Try get light, you see. And I'm sure this is one of the rehabilitation project that is going on. So it's of paramount importance that we should stand behind and we embrace this opportunity for rehabilitation. We must not continue the sharing of blood for something to stand. If we continue like that, it may be too late to reconstruct. Look at Syria, look at Iraq, look at Libya. They thought the removal of the headman will bring more peace, but look at they are still suffering till date. And true peace comes from God. The Bible says, my peace I give to you, my peace that I live with you I give to you, not as the world giveth, which means the world may promise us peace, but true peace comes from the Savior. And Nelson Mandela fought for freedom in South Africa. You see what happened? Up till now, they are still suffering. Of recent, Donald Trump said all the Americans who are residing in South Africa, they should come over to America because he's not seeing any peace. The peace is not guaranteed to them. And like I said earlier, true peace comes from God. And God himself has been addressed so many times in the Bible as the God of peace, because he's a God of peace. And we read the Bible and we have wisdom, and there's a revelation knowledge that has been granted us. And I want that my listeners out there, they should know one thing: war is not the best solution. And if in the midst of this war the president have said that there should be rehabilitation, let all of us embrace this rehabilitation. One another, we should persuade our brothers, our sisters, our parents that this rehabilitation process is of paramount importance. And as we do so, you realize that we will triumph. will prevail. You see, as I was discussing with my leader a few minutes ago, and we said no nation is poor. No nation in the world is poor. It is the leaders who make the nation to be poor. But if we have a leader in the midst of a war, we cannot say we are rich, and we cannot be prosperous in the midst of any war. We can only prosper when there is peace. And I think this reconstruction process is going to foster that peace. Amen.
Amen. All right. Thank you very much. You sounded more like a preacher, yeah, and I think that I love that it's giving some great feeling out there, because I think moralization is what we need in the Northwest and the Southwest region. Now, I promise to give you some statistics. Like I said, it is 5 years since the presidential plan for the reconstruction of the Northwest and the Southwest region has been in place. Now, what has happened? This is what has happened. Please listen very keenly. A total of 5,944,102,748 francs has been used for 5 years. Thank God it is 5 billion, so we can say each year at least 1 billion goes. I mean, let's just put it that way. Anyway, so that is what I'm used. So what has that money been used for? That money has been used to cater for 258 projects in the Northwest region and 243 projects in the Southwest region. So you do the math to know the total number of projects that has been catered in the Northwest and the Southwest region. But that is not all. Now we've had 800 lost documents. You know, vital documents were lost. They were burnt in houses and all of that. Birth certificates, marriage certificates, identity cards, and so on and so forth. So 800 lost documents have been procured, been reproduced by government. 59 socio-cultural events have been organized. At least we see a lot of the socio-cultural events that crop up here and there. 11 common-based women empowerment centers, so women empowerment initiatives, have been financed. 79 schools have been rehabilitated. At least we know many of them here in Boya that have been rehabilitated. Those in the Northwest region, Bamenda particularly, that have been rehabilitated. Again, 37 health facilities have been rehabilitated, and 37 water points have been reconstructed. Call them catchments, have been reconstructed. Well, we know many of them, at least 30 of them in the Southwest region, in Boya in particular, about 7 of them. So this is what those are the projects that 5,944,102,748 francs has been able to accommodate. Mr. Kikishi, I think that if you do the math, 258 for the Northwest, 243 for the Southwest. If you do the math, it's going to have something close to 900 and okay, so it's something like 991 projects, something like that, done in the Northwest and the Southwest region for 5 years. I think that is a pat in the back, isn't it?
It will sound so. It's paper. You know, there are several projects in Cameroon that once a billboard is pinned, that the project starts. After some months, the project is halted, but in the books, the project was already executed. We have several of such projects in Cameroon from our public investment budget that they start the project and it dissolves, it ends up not being completed, but it is there. There's a kilometer of road that was started and the president inaugurated it in Manfred somewhere, and he knows that the road is going to have 50 kilometers. It ended just 1 kilometer from 1960 to today. It has never been completed. But that road was started and the president actually inaugurated it and walked a kilometer and then boarded his helicopter and came back to Yaoundé. That is just the Cameroon that we decry. The first thing is that I pointed out here, when you cited the pillars of reconstruction, the first pillar, like you said, was building back social cohesion. And Mr. Njomo mentioned the fact that there's distrust in our leadership, and that is true. If you look at the presidential plan, when you go to the third pillar, when you go to the other pillar, social cohesion, you had cultural, looking for common grounds where people could organize cultural events. But most of them are coming like CPDM events. And so how do you expect people to participate? Each time you see a minister coming for a social cohesion business, it is the CPDM regalia that is dominating, and so people do not know that it is a reconstruction event. So you see, the system has over politicized everything to the point where even the elements that they need to even discourage to take a party, that we don't want partyship here, that nobody should come with party regalia, but because the minister is there, all of them come in party regalia, and nobody now, they scare people away because it means it's an event of a party, not a building social cohesion. You cannot build social cohesion by projecting politics, and the bitterness that Cameroonians have about the ruling party. I say it without fear, that there's a bitterness in Cameroon because they have stifled the development of Cameroon. And so to an extent, if we are going to look for a common ground to unify people, we should put aside politics. And so that is where they failed. Because each time that there was an event, the money that 70-something cultural events that you cited, whether it's 79, I've forgotten. 79. You realize that they were like party manifestos, events to showcase the strength of the party. And so what about the people that already bearing grudges against that party? They were already excluded. The other thing is that the public investment budget of Cameroon gives gives speculation for the project to be presented to the beneficiaries. It means that there should be town hall meetings where the 243 projects in the southwest were presented to the population, who now serve as stakeholders to even monitor and evaluate. When you call OCA for an assessment of the impact of a 5-year presidential reconstruction plan, and I tell you that which project have you seen a billboard? Okay, now you talk about the cultural part. Did you ever hear that it was the reconstruction plan that the festival was taking place that is bought from the very, very few Cameroonians were not informed. As they were not informed, they were deformed about that. So it is the 5 billion. Cameroonians look at this as being very ambiguous figures, but they don't see the concrete into concrete terms. Are we really living in cohesion? Is it because there are no gunshots that we are living in cohesion? I don't think so. I think that we are living in cohesion by God's grace. It's not by the efforts of the government. The government made little effort. Now, when the UNDP first came in with the reconstruction plan, they asked everybody who lost a house or a farm, and many thousands of people left. Monyenge, Ekata, Baket, they are mentioning Kwakwa and all this, that were devastated and came and put their name. Do you know that today they are very disgruntled? Those are communities that I go very frequently. They are very disgruntled about it, because you are talking about construct infrastructure, meaning that they must have been. If your house is, can you construct a house with 1 million?
It depends.
It depends on what.
It depends.
In Cameroon, a bag of cement is how much?
It depends.
Or even it's calaboot. What I'm trying to say is that
it's better off than living in the bush.
Better off, but what I'm trying to say is that people who lost properties are very disgruntled. The helicopter that flies to Kwakwa will make a few seconds there, and then in the area that 2 or 3 houses are built, and then they take off. The take off message is that Kwakwa is already they have rehabilitated those who lost houses. So the issue of leadership dynamics, like my brother was talking there. Sometimes we need to work. The over centralization of this government is a problem to Cameroon. Yaoundé people must not come to the southwest region to carry out reconstruction. They have the central administration. They have a lot of work to do. Is there you will see in that budget that you cite 5 billion. Let me tell you that the motorcade that comes to Boya every day with ministers takes more than half of that 5 billion. Yes, that is the truth. Because each time that His Excellency Port Tasson was coming to Boya for anything on reconstruction, if you stood by the roadside to count the number of cars in the convoy that came from Yaoundé and calculate the petrol that they consume, that money, half of it at 5-point-something billion has gone, 2-point-something billion has gone back to Yaoundé. That is the truth about it. But whereas we have mayors here, we have the governor who can supervise the reconstruction for the north, the southwest, without the minister coming in all the time. When they come in, they are cutting from that budget, travel allowances, per diem for hotel bills and so on, and feeding and all. So it is giving back to the people. You see, in communal liberalism, which has become just a book because has not been applicable. It's giving back to the communities. Look for the people in the community to spearhead the reconstruction of the region, and you will realize that it will be the 5-point-something billion will have a ripple effect in the regions than the minister coming to Yaoundé every time to do this. I think that we have really just burned this country out. You see, a minister comes from Yaoundé. He carries his money. He comes. If he's eating, it's a Yaoundé person that will start to negotiate bills and to pay. What kind of nation are we building?
Right.
Then the other thing is that the reconstruction plan was a product of the Grand National Dialogue, which is not. It was a failure because it was not inclusive. So you cannot expect a product. You are talking about regional assemblies. People see the structure standing. They don't know what they don't know the work of the.
We will not go to that debate. We have a lot to discuss and we have limited time.
Okay,
I think that we should let's square up on our discussion. Now, let's look at the implementation program of UNTP. At least for the first 3 years that UNTP piloted this project, the method used, Cyril, is UNDP grouped faith-based organizations, we'll call them churches. The Catholics, the Presbyterian, and the Baptists, and the other churches, put them together. They also grouped community leaders, chiefs. For instance, the water catchments that they created in villages, they earmarked those villages. They also grouped community leaders like mayors. They brought in mayors and the rest to identify projects they could carry out. I remember, because of the fact that it was an active volcano kind of act implementation, so say that they're implementing while the crisis is still raging, they had to walk around the buffer, the safe zones and all of that. And that is why you see that places like Boya, Limbe, Tiko, Kumba, and maybe Manfe a bit, had the chunk of these development initiatives. And then we also have Bamenda, Kambe, having a chunk of the development initiatives. But looking at all of this, the intentions are very pure. And to see that a lot actually has been done. Many children, displaced children, had the opportunity to go to schools because those schools were reconstructed and all of this. Looking at all of this, you see that actually a lot of work was done. It might not have been spread across the entire region, but these other places a lot of work was done, which is plausible.
The deficit is not only at the level of information, but in implementation. The few work done that one can see is that private structure are growing daily in these hand-picked communities you have cited. But public infrastructure has not gained that much enthusiasm. Since you started this second set of questions with statistics. Let me take you down lane. 89 billion was the amount estimated for a project duration of 10 years. 5 years, as we are blowing the fifth candle, means that we are halfway gone. If only less than 6 billion has been coughed out, it means that it's a failed project. It was failed even before it started. Mr. Kekiche did call your attention on that the timing for the project was wrongly set. Those who cast it were poorly selected. And so, it's a rigmarole. It's a window dressing that we are here taking stock of halfway gone. While we are talking, more than 6,000 people have died under this crisis. You may like to know we are still talking about statistics. We want to also say that 80,000 Cameroonians are displaced. And this crooked method, they have looked for some spy that singly go to Nigeria, want to squeeze these refugees from their camp and come back to justify this very money we are talking about. That's why I said a lot has been done for personal gains. Don't be surprised when you see around, you see big structure erected like that. It's this money that is going. So that is what some few statistics we had for you, to tell you that the intention might be pure. Again, I have a problem with those words because they don't meet their potential. When you say pure, it looks like those who behind it even had the assentment of the people. They all took on themselves. It was kind of pride. We will do it our own way. If you want me to say the local way, like hitting their hand on their chest, that you will do it our own way and you people will follow us. And so we are following them. But now, I also want to, somebody was talking about, I say we're in the church. No, I want to say that even to come to this studio, we pay taxi. And in those taxi fare, we are paying tax to the government. Most of our brothers that cannot follow this program because they are playing pari food, they are paying tax to the government. This electricity, we are paying tax to the government. And it's part of that money we are asking back for our reconstruction. So we are not begging. We are not beggars. I want to make us know that it is our contribution on daily basis that we are asking for. So we are not begging. And it's their responsibility to forfeit their promises because this social contract, we gave them the mandate. Or they forced us and took it. We are simply saying that they should put a balance sheet so that we can appreciate whether they are fit for the job again. So I will not give you back the floor without saying that this is an electoral year. And we are calling that halfway into a project that is meant from 2020 to 2030, the government shows that neither to mobilize the resources nor to implement are they ripe for such a project. Let them give us a chance. We want to govern this country and take Cameroonians to tax, to judge us while we are working. There's nothing they can say about us for now because we have never been given a chance to try anything. Maybe by the time we take power, if they wish to give us the power, then they can judge between the previous government and now. Without which, if they think we should continue with this very government that budget 89 billion for 10 years and after 5 years has just made 5 billion, then no problem. But I will not be coming here to be talking about 5 billion. Meanwhile, we should be talking about 40 billion by now. Why could they not raise the money? Because we told them the very moment they came up with this project that this is not time to talk about reconstruction. Why bullets are still flying out there? They told us that no. Do you mean that peace should not come? Okay, peace has come. Why have you raised only 5 billion? So, Yannick, that's how statistics shows.
Right. Now, there is a turn in the reconstruction program. The Prime Minister and Head of Government did indicate late last year that they face the reconstruction, the presidential plan for the reconstruction and development of the Northwest and Southwest region it will be taking a different phase, a more broader approach in the program. Now, the UNDP was given the sole mandate to pilot the projects in its first phase, the first 3 years. But after that, after the evaluation, the spectrum, the base was broadened even bigger and better. According to the Prime Minister and Head of Government, Chief Dr. John Gute, now UNDP is going to collaborate with other stakeholders like the Regional Council or the Regional Assembly for the Northwest and the Southwest and mayors and other stakeholders so that they can reach the communities even bigger and better. So to say that there's not just going to be one partner, but there are going to be multiple partners that are going to implement the presidential plan for the reconstruction and development of the Northwest and the Southwest region. And the reasons given that is that they want to use the grassroots approach to say that stakeholders on the field or in the ground are more reliable to implement the presidential plan for the reconstruction of the Northwest and the Southwest region than those stakeholders who come from outside to implement, because you have other challenges like you are a stranger, we don't know you, and so we can't collaborate well with you. So we can collaborate more with our chief whom we know. And so that is why the government thought that using these stakeholders to implement this plan would yield more results than before. Now, Mr. Talbot, how do you see this news initiative by the government?
Thank you very much. Once more, I'm someone who I always start with a story. You know, I was told this story and it's a reality. There was this war that Camp A and Camp B, they were fighting a certain forest, and at night time some soldiers in Camp B, they needed water to drink, so they went in search of water that night in that same forest. As they went, they got the water in a certain stream. After drinking the water, they now carry some to go and meet their fellow their friends who were in the same Camp B, so that they too can have a taste of it. So while going back, since it was at night time, they never, since they have not yet mastered the forest well, they didn't know that they were instead going back to the camp of their enemies. So there were 4 of them, a general and some 2 other soldiers behind him. So after they have trekked a certain distance, then they just realized that there are some light that started pointing on their bodies, like a laser light. So one of the armies noticed that from all indication they are in the camps of their enemy. So he turned to the general and said, "General, we are surrounded on every side." And the general said, "This is good, because right now we can start killing them on any side or on any direction." What I'm actually saying is, a wise man said, since we cannot go back and make a brand new start, we can start now and make a brand new ending. I think this message, this very moment, the waves are going very far. And with the suggestions from our humble colleagues who have elaborated some points, if the government actually go through their points that they have raised, myself, only like what my father here on the right, what he said, I think it really sank right deep in me. And if I was a president, immediately I will immediately start the construction, because from all indication, most of the things is like democracy. You know, they say democracy on paper is real, but actually it's a fallacy. And from all indication, the buildings, the numbers that they are giving is a deception, and it's actually a deception of maximal propensity. Like an American would say, it's a hoax. It's actually a hoax, because myself, the number, I don't know why they are inflating the numbers, or if they are not inflating, or there are people who are also giving them reports. And then with respect for another point, with respect to the same reconstruction that we said, external people coming here, I think those external people may do more, to my own understanding, they may do more good to us than our own people. I was talking with a friend yesterday about this reconstruction issue, and he said that a fellow from them, an indigene of their community, they gave him, I think, about 30-kilometer road to tar. That's around Kumba area, going to Mbonge, something like that. He said the guy actually snapped a different road and sent to the government. So you see, actually we are actually the ones killing ourselves. But with the message and the points that these are my fellow parents, colleagues, they are panelists, they have elaborated, I think without any waste of time, the government should start implementing those things right now at astronomical speed. I think with that, we are moving to a brighter future.
Right.
Thank you, sir.
Now, what are your own proposals to government? How can we better implement the presidential plan for the reconstruction and development of the Northwest and Southwest region? I mean, true to type, the aim is really is of great is good. I mean, by its estimation, it is good. Maybe the implementation has some challenges. Remember that never has been has the stakeholders refused that there are not challenges. They've always accepted that there are lots of challenges in the implementation, but they are trying to navigate these challenges and they identifying opportunities so that they can implement it even better. But if you were to discuss with Paul Tassom, he's also the minister delegate in the Ministry of Economic Planning and Regional Development, which is Minipart. Of course, Minipart is implementing the public investment budget, so more or less all of them are intertwined. So, if you had to advise him on how to implement these, what would you tell him?
All the communities that have been affected by the crisis have people who never move out of those communities within the hard hit time that the country was ongoing. And so in them, if you want to talk about people who have their communities at heart, you think about, giving them the responsibilities to man, the teams or the task group that is within those communities. Like I said, once a budget is allocated for projects within the Northwest and Southwest for the reconstruction, it should not be a Yaoundé affair. For accountability reasons, my brother just mentioned a route of 30 kilometers that was given. Do you know that you don't need government to assess or evaluate the project? If in the beginning the project is presented during a town hall meeting to the beneficiaries, that there's a bridge that will be built in Bakweri Town, linking Bakweri Town and Moki Garage. The beneficiaries attend this meeting, they will know about the cost, they will know about the duration of the project, and they will have some technicalities that will be given to them about the bridge. Do we need Yaoundé to come and supervise the bridge? We don't need Yaoundé. Do we need Yaoundé to go to Kumba or wherever you mentioned to check that route? You don't need Yaoundé. Only the little children of primary school in that community. I was following a video where from two students was pressing the president of his country, the mama, and she cited several things that the president of the head of state has done. It was in a big mammoth crowd. I'm sure you watched that video. So you can imagine how informed even primary school children who stay in Bakweri Town, if you want to know about that bridge, go and ask them. You don't need to go. Yaoundé do not need to send us people from Yaoundé to come and evaluate the bridge. That is wasting of government's money. The users in that quarter can give you feedback about the bridge. The users in whichever route that was supposed to start, who were brought in as project stakeholders because they are beneficiaries, know that this road is going to link Makebe or Manyemen and this community, and they will telling you Even if there's magu on the technical aspect, there are some informed community members who will know that there's magu and they will inform the right person. So in participatory approach, the government must now work on a participatory approach on this other phase. That is, they never did that. Because he only beat his chest, like my brother was saying, that they are going to do it in their own style. We are in a conflict situation, and you cannot be doing it in your own style and then you expect social cohesion. Even the governors of the North and South, I can say that they are disgruntled even when those people come and use part of the money that is meant for reconstruction only in their convoy. No. It's time that you hand off. After 43 years, so I think you should have brought these communities to be able to take responsibility. If you have not even, if the transfer of powers to the community is still a problem, it means that you have already failed within 3 years or 40 years in power. That is one of the things that a president should pride himself, that I can sleep peacefully because people in the Southwest can handle this responsibly. If they can't, then it's a disappointment. And so what I'm recommending to His Excellency Paul Stasson is to create a local teams starting from the region to the divisions, and define to every division who is benefiting from any project, that these are the number of projects that will be carried here and this is the amount of money. If any corruption practice is involved, you will get feedback with automatic. No, empower your people to do things. You cannot come from a pothole on the road in Boya. Yaoundé has to send a team to assess before they will send money, and then the team, the decision is taken. It's national road, so the mayor of Boya cannot do this. Those are concepts that are under developing us. We are on a pathway. Need to change and focus on nation building. And personal aggrandizement should not be a problem. It should not come in. I say it without fear that Yaoundé is the cause of several problems in this country. They have refused to actually give power to the people at the basis, and they paint themselves as the only people who have, the technical know-how on issues. No. Empower people in the Southwest region to take the reconstruction plan into their hands. Right. And then again, I want to say it just like somebody person said it. If the presidential plan money is taken from the coffers of the government of Cameroon, from the taxpayers' money, they should always differentiate between what the president gives from his private coffer. The president,
the money is not taken from the
government of Cameroon. Because one of the reasons that some people find that they must
actually
be
the second
phase is that it is coming from their president, so it's their president, it's their party candidate, and so if he gives money for development anywhere, it must be the party militants that will execute the project. That's one of the reasons that stifle development.
All right, Mr. Kikeshe, thank you very much. Yeah. Thank you very much. I think Mr. Jomo, tell us. How best can this plan be effective? I mean, if we say it's a 10-year plan and already we've consumed 5 years and we have 5 more years to go, if by your estimation there were some failures, how can we right the wrongs? What are some of the advice you can give the plan commission to be able to implement it better?
Just to re-emphasize that it's not my estimation, it's naked eye. Like when you look around, there's nothing that's been
501 projects have been carried out.
Genuine community ownership of this project is just what Mr. Kekichi was explaining. And after 42 years, if some people are still expecting from this government, it means they have not learned from their mistake. Personally, this year gave us an opportunity to vote in a new government. And the CRM is just next door telling you that we are going to give community project to their real owners. In Jijin, Kiki just said something very important there that maybe some people didn't pick out. He said within the crisis, there were some people who did not leave their community. Why 700,000 is reported to have been displaced internally. These few people who told their courage for one reason or the other, excluding traditional rulers who are normally the real people who are supposed to be project owners, community project owner, or pastors or faith-based leaders or even some administrative leaders, those who travel, forget about them. Those NGG, give them taxed. He said it. He chose the word, project word. Give them tax, little tax. Put money even in the treasury, but give them a means that they can have access to it, so that accountability can be there. Then you will see. But unfortunately, personally, and I cannot advise my cherished viewers to be hoping for a government that for 42 years have not done this. No, you don't expect somebody to get up and change the way they sit. No, the buttocks is just like you turn anyhow, you come and sit the way you always sit. So we are saying that in October this year, the Cameroon Renaissance movement will be taking over power in this country, and it's a new hope, it's a new beginning, starting from Boya when we take the council next February 2026. There will be a fresh impetus. Things that you have never thought of. You have been watching but over TV, outside the country. Before this program, some people were talking about Burkina Faso. We said no. These are things that from November, you will start calling your brother or brother, they should come back to the country. Because the platform will be open for people to believe. But when I talk that people say I'm dreaming, this can only happen if you have your voters card. And we have less than 90 days to have that voter card, because in 3 months' time, they will be calling for the electoral college. I'm telling you, in less than 3 months, the electoral college will be called. So by now, you don't have your voters card, or you have registered and you have not gone and collected your voter cards. I'm telling you, tomorrow you shouldn't miss tomorrow to do that exercise. If at all you hope that we should change. But if you are part of those who want to repeat their mistake and keep believing in the government that have already shown you that their interest is elsewhere, they think about themselves and their family, all the job opportunity in this country is meant for them and their family. As I'm telling you, I have seen where they are spending this 5 billion. I have seen it, I cannot deny. But it was not accessible for you and me, the laymen. It was meant for them, with their friend, with their cliques, because they come and meet at Boya Mountain Hotel, they go in Ayaba Hotel in Bamenda, they talk big things there. They call us just when they want to give us 10,000 to sign for per diem. But that's not what we are talking about. We are talking about project that is going to help us talk about our problem. Send our children to befitted school. Have a pipe-bomb water. Mr. Kekichi was talking about community town hall meeting. We held one here in Boya. Come and hear White Elephant project that were just shooting in the room. And I sat there, I was telling my neighbor that none of these things was going to happen. And behold, today he will be looking at me like a magician. I don't need to be a magician. I have read this government and seen that it's all about themselves and their family. That's why they have erected tribalism as a moral rectitude in the society. Every administration is seen by the coloration of the leader. You go there, they are talking about the vernacular of the leader. No, right. We'll put an end to that.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Njomo. Mr. Tabot, your final thoughts would be, what advice can you give those managing or those heading the presidential plan for the reconstruction and development of the Northwest and Southwest region? And also, by extension, advise the population, because sometimes collaborating with some of these initiatives can make work even easier.
Thank you once more again, esteemed moderator. Just like the other panelists from the other parties I've discussed earlier, to my own opinion, whether it is UNDP or the Renaissance movement,
UNDP is not a political party.
Oh, sorry.
It is United Nations Development Program, UNDP. Yes.
Oh, thank you very much.
All right.
So, if there is, because I've been discussing this issue with my friends for a very long time, and their conclusion has always been that there is no follow-up, because if the delegates who are leaving Yaoundé to come to the suburbs to see these projects that are going on, there is constant follow-up. I think these plans will come to fruition. Follow-up is like training. Like when the Bible says, train up a child in the way he should go, so that when he's old, he will not depart from it. It actually says, follow up a child in the way he should go, so that when he's old, he will not depart. So I think follow up to realize all these projects. Follow up will be of paramount importance.
Yes.
Because
Monitoring and evaluation, that's what you're talking
yes, actually, because a road of 30 kilometers seen on paper, what are the views? What are the objectives? What do you expect on what do you expect the indigenes to do when there's nobody to supervise? Don't forget, most of our leaders, they act like students, and as a student, if there's no teacher behind you with a cane, you go wayward.
That's true.
Yeah. Now, like when you see a train, that long thing that is moving on that road called a train, the part that is actually called a train is just that small board in front that is just about 4 meters long. So the other
boxes.
Yeah. So the rest are just following the box in
driver.
front, the driver. So, and that's the box which is called a train. The rest, maybe they are cargo or those are luggages which are accompanying the
locomotives.
Train. Yeah. So when we talk about follow up is that I think most of the nations are prevailing that they are actually progressing.
Well.
Yes, they have follow up officer. Look at it in the US. They have the DOGE. That's the Department of Government Efficiency, which is like a follow-up department. I think if we have delegates, they follow-up department, because it's not really the matter of giving it to our indigenous. Most of the people who have failed already are the same indigenous that the money has been allocated to them. Because most of the projects, I think about 70% of the government projects that have been running in this nation, they have been assigned to our indigenous. And if you check the routes, they write our brothers, our elders, the same indigenous, they write report and send over there. And these are people that the government have entrusted them. But if there is this follow up, if we have our own Department of Government Efficiency in Cameroon, I think we will see a better light, and we'll prevail, we'll conquer, and we'll dominate. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I want to thank you, gentlemen, for participating in this program. I want to thank you, dear viewers, for watching. It's been a very interesting program, and I want to thank those who have been watching and trying to participate through calls. Well, unfortunately, we don't receive calls here, but we want to thank you for indicating that you're watching. Well, we talked about 5 years into the presidential plan for the reconstruction and development of the Northwest and Southwest region. What impacts can we count? And of course, our panelists here have given their own informed opinions on what we can count and what we can modify, and hopefully the ears that be would listen and make informed decisions with respect to these activities that touch the very fabric of the communities in the 2 English-speaking regions. I want to thank you for watching. My name is Yannick Funke for presentation, and I was joined tonight by 3 very efficient panelists. Mr. Kikishi Kenneth is of the civil society. He's a civil society actor. We also have Mr. Njomo Cyril. He is of the political party, the Cameroon Renaissance Movement, and also we had Mr. Are Tabot. He's also of another very interesting political party, the True Democratic Political Party. Yes, now they all spoke not from their political egocentric or selfish interest, but they spoke for the interest of the nation, which of course made the program a very great success. Jesse Agumant, the broadcasting and transmission, want to thank him for keeping the program this active. Until we meet again tomorrow for yet another edition of Mountain Echoes. Good night.